Hey everyone, I'm Mackayla, and today on the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast, we have Lexi with us. So welcome, Lexi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lexi from India, and I live in France right now. I'm a singer-songwriter and a music producer. We're working on Harmony for Earth, which is a remote playlist where we've got artists from all around the world joining us in remote collaboration, and we're writing songs for nature.
Oh, what was the inspiration behind Harmony for Earth?
I've always been inclined towards being an environmentalist, but I took it a step further back in 2019 when I wrote my first single and released it with my band at Between Green and Me. And we were talking about how the city that I'm from, which used to be called the Garden City, turned into this concrete jungle,
Mhm.
over a span of 10 years. And that was all okay, and we've all been talking about the environment for years now,
Yeah.
decades now, in fact. But I was seeing it right in front of my eyes that my own city was turning another shade, and the trees were disappearing. It was
Hmm.
really devastating. Also, I was always singing, and I was always an artist, but I didn't really create my own music until then.
Hmm.
And this was something that was really heartwarming. I put my hand on a tree on that time, around that time. For the first time, I actually touched it, and I really felt something. Somebody, one of my friends was talking about this, and they said that, have you really touched a tree? Have you really felt the connection? I was like, you crazy or something, But then I went for it, and I really felt something that day, I suddenly could see that the world around me wasn't the way I thought it was.
Right.
I was doing this routine life. I was going to work and taking my bike out, getting stuck in traffic for hours together every day. And around me, I would see the roads were getting wider, the traffic lanes kept getting longer also, and the trees just kept disappearing. And one day I remember very clearly being on my bike stuck in traffic, and I looked to the left and I see this tree. It's really all shriveled up and covered in dust,
Hmm.
and there's like tons of construction work around us, and this tree is just struggling for a drop of water.
Yeah.
I felt like there's some kind of disconnect here,
Hmm.
and I was just doing my thing. I didn't even know who I was working for, but the organization didn't care about the planet, neither did it care about my health or anything like that. So I really had this epiphany moment where I had to think about what I could change in my life.
Hmm.
And I suddenly wanted to write songs for nature.
Yeah.
It went really smoothly. The first song was called Can't You See? Just trying to be subtle, because when you start talking about stuff like this, it comes on too strong sometimes.
Hmm.
It's trying to be really subtle and poetic, and not trying to intimidate people or just point a finger at I
Right.
wasn't trying to do that. And then it did work. It inspired me. And after that, I couldn't really write anything more, and it was too intense, so
Hmm.
I had to take a break. Luckily, my present husband and then boyfriend, Jeff, he inspired me to go and try out teaching.
Hmm.
He said he'd already met a lot of people who had this artistic expression during their teaching journey, and he said to me, "You're looking for inspiration. You might as well just learn to be a teacher." I had spent all my life being studying to be a scientist and an
Hmm.
engineer, and I had never really paid attention to to languages and art and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I thought, okay, maybe this would be a good idea. And it turned out to be better than I expected, because most of the poems we were talking about also talked about nature.
Hmm.
And we discussed it at length at class, and my students were like between 14 and 16 years old, and they had really good points, and they inspired me, and they were really smart. And
Hmm.
I was like, this is so obvious. Like, we know this stuff, and we just lack the courage to do something about it.
Right.
COVID was like eye opener for me.
Hmm.
As we were at home locked down, and everybody was really looking at how the city still had all the green coming back. Did
Yeah.
you notice that?
I did. It was so beautiful.
Everybody did, right? And it's like if we just cut down the pace a little bit and could see miracles happening all around us.
Hmm.
And that was really important for me. And I think that's all part of this journey now.
Yeah.
And that's how I got here. And when I came to France in 2021, I was still working. And after that, I had to settle in. I didn't know French well enough. So I had to like learn the language for 6 months, and I took a break. I quit my job and decided that this is where I'm meeting myself at the crossroads,
Hmm.
and that I should do something different. It had always been a dream of mine to follow my passion and
Yeah.
do something. And I thought to myself, this is the moment. This is the chance I get, so I might as well take it.
Hmm.
The songs just kept coming to me,
Yeah.
I wasn't even me anymore. I spent a lot of time in the garden close by, which is just a hop, skip, and jump away from where I live now. It's being surrounded by green. It made me feel less lonely.
Hmm.
It took away my sadness in a way. I'm being dramatic, sure, but it really has a kind of effect on me. I really believe in it.
Hmm.
And then I just started writing songs for nature, for real life. It just kept coming one after the other. And then now it's turned into something else altogether. It's been a year since we started working on this. Actually, 2022, I released the demos,
Hmm.
and it doesn't stop there. Creating music isn't the last step of being an artist. It's in fact the
Right.
first. And I just realized all these things and learned music production and got in touch with many artists. And now it's looking really fun, like a lot of people are inspired along with
Hmm.
me. And the more we talk about it, the more inputs I get from their own perspective. And some of us are from other parts of the world that I haven't even been to yet, like
Hmm.
Mexico and Argentina, and where else? UK. I haven't even been to the UK yet. There are a lot of people from the US and even people from India working with me who are from cities I haven't been to. And
Hmm.
we all have such different ideas about how nature is doing
Yeah.
in our world right now. So it's really fun. Like we get to talk about these things and we get to write songs about it now. Yeah. So
Yeah. I
that's
can
what we
feel
do.
your enthusiasm for it.
You're really
It's
excited.
infectious.
You're a part of it now.
Yeah, so with working with so many people remotely, what does that process look like?
Oh, it's really something. I got into this without really planning it or chalking out what locations we might receive because it was open to everyone.
Hmm.
And I usually use Facebook groups to reach out to people and hashtags on Instagram and
Right.
sometimes just sharing everywhere, like on my personal account, on my WhatsApp, and all my contacts, and sometimes even outside of it. And most of it was actually Facebook groups.
Okay.
Works like a charm if you just know the right. I mean, you got to just send out all your bottles, and the ocean will return something to you,
Hmm.
and that was like that's where the magic happened for me. I feel that's where we met too.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. These groups just among all the noise, sometimes the right people get to see your work
Hmm.
and your ads, and then they're really on board and they reach out to you. We talk a little bit. In fact, one of our participants and collaborators is from Peru, and he speaks only Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I use Google Translate to be able to speak in Spanish. And it's really fun. I had no idea it's going to be so similar to French.
Hmm.
So I'm like revising everything. And probably at the end of it, I know a lot of languages. I even attempted to speak in Filipino just a couple of weeks ago to no avail, but not all of our collaborations work out. But the ones that do, they're really nice. And people usually stick around to do more than one track with us.
Hmm.
And we got 21 songs as work in progress right now, and with nearly 7 of them done or in post production. So it's really been nice. Some of it is like the time difference is insane, and I'm probably going to sleep when they're waking up, and
Hmm.
like it's really fun. And we send a bunch of voice notes to each other, and then it's almost like we're having calls, you know.
Hmm.
Voice noting is like such a icebreaker
Yeah,
for everyone. Like you really feel what they're going through, and you feel the excitement, like you said, you know. And every little thing that we do, we share with each other, and we support each other. And that's how it's been going so far. It's really fun. It's really nice. Yeah.
that's really cool. Yeah, so what can you say about those 21 songs that you have in progress?
I initially created these songs through GarageBand. Didn't do
Hmm.
much to it because I'm more of a singer songwriter than a
Right.
producer as such. And as I invite people, they add their little elements to it. And the theme of our 3 tracks that went out happened to be conscious rap. I didn't even intend for that to happen, but it just
Mhm.
did. And there's so many people into rap, and our artists were talking about the environment.
Right.
And it was like a really good angle to rap, in my opinion,
Hmm.
which is different from what kind of rap exists out there right now. And I wasn't even I'm not even into all these genres, but I explore it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the lyric writing process, I use a lot of sources online, and I also follow a lot of artists on Instagram, and I get a lot of inspiration.
Hmm.
I surround myself and in this little naturistic bubble so that I'll be able to write stuff. And then some of them actually want to write their own verses too. So
Hmm.
we have parts divided among ourselves, and I create a beat, a backtrack, and then I share it over, and then they send me their parts, and then we mix it together, or I find another producer. And this is the process that's been going on. Let me tell you the songs, a little bit more about the songs as such. The first one was called Talk Talk, which was a 5 people collaboration with people from USA, in Charlotte and San Francisco,
Hmm.
and me from France, and another friend of us from the UK who is a producer. And this took 3 months to get done.
Wow.
And yeah, it took a while because there's so much of back and forth,
Hmm.
and who wants to do what parts. We were still figuring out the process.
Hmm.
And that was my experimental phase, I could say. Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of things wrong also, if I think about it now. The producer and I had so much of tension because it was my song, and then it
Right.
was not my song. And then I had to let go of that side of me that was so attached to what I created.
Hmm.
And that was the process. And finally, I learned a lot from it. And I even ended up finishing my course at Berkeley. So I really humbled myself before I could do the rest of the songs.
Hmm.
And ever since, the producer and I are really tight now, and we work really hard together, and things really heading in the right direction.
That's good.
Yeah, and he wants to do more songs, so I'm so happy, you know. The second track was from Argentina, an artist called Mars, and he and I, we just connected on Facebook, and he sent me a message, really heartfelt message, saying I'd be really interested in working on this. It was only email, and then I replied to him. I was getting a lot of requests, but I wasn't really happy about the quality of the requests I was getting, because
Hmm.
everyone was just asking me if I could pay them or something
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
And it wasn't what I was looking for at the moment. I wanted people who were really interested in the topic to join me. But
Right.
I also learned over the time that I need to not be so specific about what I want.
Hmm.
But this was an actual producer from Argentina who wanted to work on this album, and I was so excited. He and I, we just discussed a little bit about what the topics were, and it was about social media. It was about the pressure of being online, and
Hmm.
the whole space out there, and how sometimes it can be really pressurizing for an artist. And that's what that's the track he picked to work on with me. And in a month's time, he was done with it. And we had something missing in it. We just felt like something was missing. And I told
Hmm.
him, why don't you add your guitars? And he was really happy. He thought I was just gonna expect him to mix and master it, but then it could be a part of it as an artist also, and it
Yeah.
was really thrilling even for him. And today we're such good friends. He just shared his new album with me, which came out this morning. It's
Exciting.
called it's like, we're making a little community of people who really want to work with each other. And we struggle to get the right kind of attention out there.
Hmm.
It's really nice to have someone who feels the same thing. It's slowly building. The third track was with an artist who found me because of the first track.
Hmm.
And he said, I really love the vibe and the theme. And he's from Button Addict. And he was really talking to me about Dylan's rap, Dylan from the first track. And I said to him, why don't you just give it a shot? Because he's also a rapper. And he said,
Hmm.
it's not my area of expertise. And I said, you love this planet, right? And he's like, yes, I do, Olivia. And he told me about being a fisherman and how difficult it was to see the fish disappearing. And I was like, that is a narrative that I'd like to explore. And he wrote me a wonderful rap that I wouldn't believe he hasn't done this before, you know? It was so good. It just took 2 days to give me
Wow.
that. Yeah, recreated the track, he finished it, and he said, "Here you go." That was what happened really quickly, and we're still gonna work on a lot of stuff. And the fourth track was with an artist from America also. I think he's from New York. He hasn't even spoken to me that much. He just sent me his parts, and he said, "Here you go." you know and we still like in touch, and we make content together, and that's how it's going. We got 4 tracks out now, and the rest of it's still on the way. So that's how it's going.
Very exciting. So you mentioned that early on you made a bunch of mistakes. Can you share any of those with us or anything that you learned from them?
Yeah, one super mistake would be to expect so much from an artistic perspective.
Hmm.
You can't, when you're trying to make a project like this and you want people to collaborate with you, and you're going to have a lot of artists working with you, you can't go in with a solid plan or an idea. You got to be willing to be flexible enough to incorporate everybody's ideas. Everyone
Right.
wants to be represented. And in the first few weeks was really hard for me. I was still at the end of my course and learning about how to be a proper musician, and I had lots to learn. I had really put my ego down
Hmm.
a lot. What am I saying? I had to put my ego down a lot, and I had to humble myself and not get angry when something isn't going my way. And
Hmm.
that unnecessary anger could really put a stick in the wheel at times. You go there are days I've gone about saying, I'm giving up on this. I it was so quick to say it's not working.
Right.
That's not the point. The thing is, you gotta remember why you're doing what you're doing, and build your principles really strongly at the start, and be patient with yourself in this process. Everyone's doing something new here, and it's the first time we're trying to do stuff. So it's gotta be a conscious decision to take the pressure off,
Hmm.
like every step of the way. Yeah, that's something I would really say was my big learning from this. I'm still learning,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was something I struggled with at first. Yeah, definitely.
Hmm. What advice would you give to somebody who's kind of struggling with that part of it, like putting the ego down and kind of moving past that?
I would suggest this is what I did. It worked for me. I surrounded myself with a lot of motivational stuff. My Instagram is filled with motivational pages and quotes, and videos from people who know life, and this is kind of the content that I surround myself with.
Hmm.
It kind of put me in the right mood. Other than that, it's important to tell yourself that it's okay
Right.
sometimes. It's failure isn't really the last step. We like to look at life like it's so permanent at times,
Hmm.
and we don't even take a second to look at what we've learned from it sometimes. And that's really sad, because every experience gives you a lot to take back. And if you just process it or take some time off to process the whole thing and see the bigger picture, understand what you're working for, and have clear set goals, I don't think it's going to be that hard. And it'll be very easy to put your ego aside if you understand that this is not about you. It's not
Right.
about me. It's not about anything other than the entire, the whole world here in this case. So, I mean, that's literally what I sign off in my emails, it literally means the world to me. I think you received that in
Yeah.
your email as well. That's what it is, humbling yourself is like brain work. And secondly, meditation works for me. It
Mhm.
really did work all this while and still does. And I do like to put down my thoughts in this little notebook that I finished. And, every time I have a dilemma, I try to write it down, try to express myself, and I read it again. And it's almost like, oh, don't really feel this. It's just temporary. A
Right.
lot of feelings are temporary. You just
Mhm.
gotta pick it and say, is this really me? And no, out the window. Or you
Right.
stay, you go, and it's like something you just consciously incorporated into the mind.
Yeah. Definitely something that's easier said than done.
Yeah, but time is your friend. Like,
Mhm.
it's going to help you get through it. You just gotta take the leap of faith and just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with creating all of this music about nature and the earth, are you going to support any environmental causes with it?
Actually, we're working on exactly that. We just recently collaborated with Valoris London, who makes sunglasses
Ooh,
with rubbish that they pick up from the oceans. All the
that's
plastic that
cool.
we find from, yeah, it's like upcycling waste and turning it into high-end fashion.
Hmm.
I mean, I think there's enough plastic in the world for the next 10 generations, you know?
Yeah.
So it's time for us to really focus on upcycling it and reusing it and recycling everything.
Hmm.
So these are the kind of brands that we want to support, and we're really hoping to talk about Ecosia, the search engine that plants trees with the
Hmm.
results. So I really love their work, and we're trying to get in touch with them also. So I really hope that happens. And there's so many local. I really want to focus on local businesses
Okay.
because they're by default their carbon footprint is very low.
Yeah.
And if you make local businesses thrive, people are going to want to stay where they are and do
Yeah.
more work and be a part of their community, which is ultimately what every human being craves, right?
Hmm.
Everyone wants to do something helpful, be part of the society, and contribute in every way they possibly can. So we're on the lookout for sustainable brands, no matter who they are,
Hmm.
and really help them with our content, making tributes and stuff. And I've also got a brand called Bamboo who talks about using bamboo in their single use or permanent use products, and they just have a much lesser environmental impact. So
Hmm.
these are the kind of brands we're working with right now.
Yeah. Are there any other notable brands that you recommend that people use or try out?
This is a really hard question because I try to live very minimally.
Hmm.
And, if I'm not really a very brand related person
Hmm.
as such, but, if you can, please just go out in the streets and try the local vendors
Okay.
as much as you can. And anything that you could avoid ordering and getting delivered to your house, you could probably just step outside, get some sunlight in the process and some fresh air and pick it up yourself. That's what I'd suggest.
Okay.
I don't know how many people are going to be happy about hearing this, but yeah, that's what I really feel. And other than that, people are talking about what their businesses do online,
Hmm.
and a lot of local businesses are talking about how sustainable they are. And I'd suggest that people have an open eye and an open mind to explore these options. They need
Yeah,
you more than anyone else right
for
now. Like,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad.
So you moved from India to France, like kind of at the beginning of this journey. What impact did that have on this journey?
Hmm. Solitary life is more inspiring than one would like to think. But I got to spend so much time by myself here. And that meant I had more time to explore my writing and singing, and all the poems that were just collecting dust at the corner of my table just showed up,
Mhm.
and it was silent enough for me to record. Because where I come from, there's 13 million people, and it's a bustling and active live city. I miss the energy, sure,
Mhm.
but it was never a quiet second to record my vocals. And I got this wonderful device from Focusrite. I didn't have a proper mic until I came here, and this was the game changer for me.
Mhm.
The moment I could actually hear myself recording high quality sound, I was quick to create the tracks and write put melodies to my lyrics, and it was out before I knew it. I had just finished a stint at a marketing course, and my whole social media experience played out, and I knew what to do with a brand. I just
Mhm.
didn't have a brand to work with
Right.
who I was really believed in. So I decided that I have to do the brain work now to figure out how to create a brand that I want to be, and decide what I want to be firstly.
Mhm.
And all of that happened over the last 2 years. And I made a website and reached out to people. A lot of people joined me, made a lot of lovely stuff happen. When you alone, you get to do all of this, I
Mhm.
feel. So I wouldn't say that you should be alone, because it's not like, I'm not saying it like that. I did call
Mhm.
my mom a lot. She called me a lot too, because she's really worried about me being alone. And it's totally reasonable, because at times it was difficult also, but it was also a very important thing to go through, to understand what are my own values,
Right.
what do I love, and what am I passionate about. And that was the most important part of this
Mhm.
transition for me. Yeah,
Yeah, because if you don't understand yourself, you can't make the art you want to make.
exactly. I didn't find the right words to describe what I wanted.
Mhm.
Another thing that comes to my mind is learning French, learning another language, and it forced me out of my comfort zone completely. And
Mhm.
I think learning was something I was avoiding, almost. But being in a room full of people, not being able to communicate what you wanted to say, and all of us spoke a different language, and the teacher spoke only in French. And this whole experience made me feel almost like I can't express my thoughts, and I'm not funny in French. That's really hard for me. It didn't really work in my head. I was like, all my talent is wasted. Anyway, yeah, and that's how I felt. And I was like, it's okay. I did manage to learn a bunch of things. So it looks like I still got it in me. And being in a classroom environment as a student put me in student mode a little bit for 6 months. Then I was like, I have to learn some more and stick to this whole learning path.
Mhm.
And that was the humbling experience I was talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah, and it helps you level yourself a little bit. And that was all, everything contributed, to this whole album playing out. Yeah.
So when you're kind of struggling to get inspired, what do you do to kind of reignite that flame?
This is a simple one. I love to go out in nature, and there's a park close by, the one I mentioned earlier. It's called
Mhm.
Les Jardins. And every time I go into that forest, it's not exactly a forest, but it looks like a forest a
Okay.
little bit up the hill. And you're surrounded by trees. There are little insects all around, and the sky is really beautiful, and the clouds are passing by. And you just take a second, and you align your breath with the world around you.
Mhm.
That's inspirational almost instantly. It takes a moment sometimes when you're having a really bad day,
Right.
but on the good days, it's like boom, slap on the face. Here's an inspiration for you, right above the clouds. I take a little book with me to write down my thoughts too. And yeah, looking at tiny little critters really humbles me, and really inspires me to work really hard.
That's
You know,
awesome.
yeah, really love nature.
I can tell.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to aspiring singer-songwriters?
Mm, I'd say please take a class. If or watch YouTube videos. There are so many pros out there giving great advice. Surround yourself with the right people who encourage you and encourage them too. And don't let it be all about yourself. It happens a lot. People get like me, but it's not about just me. You got to give the support you want to receive also.
Mhm.
And that was something that I also learned in this process. And your people will find you. Most artists are working on building a community,
Right.
and then they get really frustrated looking at the other artist who's doing really well. I mean, you don't need that. Nobody's in competition. You create your own art, and you got to know how unique you are. You got to accept that uniqueness and just shine through and be confident all the time. That's it. That's what I would say to anyone who's trying to do any kind of music at all. Just own it. Know who you are, know what you're doing, and just own it. There's no one like you.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I mean, obviously it's easier said than done. But
It's true, but it's not impossible. It's not
right.
impossible at all to know. It takes a little bit of solitude to know who you are, and
Mhm.
then the rest of it is just gonna. It's inevitable to not let it come out and shine.
Right.
So it's just, yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. So before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about today?
I'd like to shout out to Songs for Nature. And if there are any drummers, especially, please do reach out to us. We are looking for artists to join us all the time. Literally 24/7, the search is on. So if you're a conscious artist and you love nature, please reach me out. I'm Lexi from Lexaholism, and you'll know more about us, the soundtrack of your lives.
Okay. So the last question is, what is the soundtrack of your life?
It's a really tough one. I have so many, but I do have one that's really the soundtrack of my life. We are the world. You know,
Mhm.
when Michael Jackson passed away, I think I watched this video on loop for days on end, and I learned everybody's parts, and I was
Mhm.
so inspired that they all came together and they made this piece of art back in the day, and the message was so clear and so strong. And recently, I in fact watched the documentary of how it's been made. My younger self was so happy inside. Yeah, it was ecstatic almost. And it's the same old thing, and artists are difficult with each other and everything like that, but they still made something so magnificent. Every time I listen to it, I get chills. And
Yeah.
that's my inspiration. All of this really good music out there, Imagine by John Lennon, and all the poets, and all the artists who sang this beautiful stuff back in the day. And it's really underrated today, in my
Mhm.
opinion. So I'd like to talk about it more and let people talk about it and be part of these activities that we're doing to bring people together. Yeah, so soundtrack of my life has to be We Are the World.
I
Yeah,
love it. That's a
for
great
sure.
soundtrack.
The soundtrack of our lives. I love that name, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
I was thinking about it a lot. It's really cool.
Thank
How'd you
you.
come up with it, if I could ask you a
Yeah,
question?
so it was kind of a group effort. So I have like a small group behind the podcast, and we were kind of like just like throwing ideas. I have it written down somewhere. I cannot remember off the top of my head which team member came up with it, but it was one of our team members.
It's really meaningful, like
Yeah,
soundtrack is like something you'd play at the back of a movie, and your life would be a movie, and it's such a
right.
poetic way to say what's your life story. I really love it. Claps to
Oh,
you and your
thank you.
entire team. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Cool.
where can our listeners find you? And then also Harmony for Earth as well.
Well, we're streaming on all your favorite music apps right now at Lexaholism, Lexaholism. And if you'd like to know more about our project, we're songsfornature.wordpress.com. And there's all the information you need. And if you need anything else, you can reach me out at lexaholism@gmail.com. So don't hesitate.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Thank
And
you for
also, you were
reaching
a
me out.
natural, so I don't think there was anything to be nervous about.
Really?
Yeah, you did amazing.
Thank you, Mackayla. You're really
Yeah,
nice. I'm so glad we did this
me
and
too.
really appreciate you for doing such a thing, firstly.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah, I
really
love your
great.
passion. It really shines through.
Love it, love it. Thank you. It's really been inspiring even for me. Now I feel even happier. I took a
Oh,
bunch
good.
of BTS footage. You mind if I take a picture of us?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
My husband's waiting desperately for some news. Like everyone's, my mom's heard about this. Everyone
Oh,
knows. I'm waiting to get this call. Okay. Hello, Mackayla. Hello, Mackayla.
hi.
This is the soundtrack of our lives. Oh, we're nearly done. She says I'm a natural.
Very natural. So good. You did great. I don't think there was anything to be nervous about.
Oh, they don't hear you on this. You're on headphones. But I'm gonna make a reel about this, of course.
Awesome. I'm excited for it.
Cool, yeah. If you want to send me a clip or something, let me know. Love it. I'm really glad we did this.
Me too.
Yeah, I will make you a reel and post about you guys and
Awesome.
cool. I mean, I shout out to you too. This is the least I could do. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well, have a nice
Okay.
rest of your day.
You too. You too. Have a great day. Bye bye. It was
Bye.
lovely, lovely to have you. Bye bye.
Bye.